Hey, welcome, it's Cassie. Today I'm going to show you how to make some fake funnel cakes, and they're so easy. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need is some spackle. I like the Fast and Final brand, but you can use any brand that you want. And we're going to mix some of the spackle with some paint. So I have a container that I was using before with this color. So I'm going to put some of my spackle in the container, and then the color that I'm going to use for this is apple barrel yellow and then territorial beige. So I'm just going to mix this around really good and make sure that there aren't any streaks. Just make sure everything is nice and uniform. So the color you end up with should be like a light tan color. So now I'm going to take a piping bag and I'm going to put the spackle into the piping bag. And we don't need a piping tip for this. We're just going to use the bag and cut it off. If you have trouble filling this, you can put it into a cup and put the edges over to hold the bag open for you. Okay, so now I have pulled my sides of my bag back up. I'm going to push this down as far as I can, and then we will cut the tip off. So depending how big you want to make your funnel cake will determine where you want to cut this off. Like if you're making a mini one, you can cut it a little bit further down so it's a little more narrow. If you're making a bigger one, you can cut up a little further like this. So just figure out how big you want to make your funnel cake first, and then go from there. So I'm going to cut mine about here. I'm going to make mine mini for this one. I have a little bit larger one that I'm going to decorate with you guys. And then just push your spackle down to the tip. For this part, you're just going to make a random pattern. I try to make it kind of like overall a circle shape, but you just want to kind of like loop it around and, you know, just make a pattern, any kind of pattern, because it all just kind of like overlaps each other, and that's the look of a funnel cake. So and then just keep going until you are happy with how it's looking. And it's going to look like a pile of poo. And if that's what it looks like, you've probably done it right. So I'm going to put this one aside because now you need to let this dry probably overnight. It's going to take longer than that to dry completely, but you'll be able to paint it after 24 hours. So I'm going to set this one aside, and then I have one that we can paint. Okay, so here's the one that I made that's a little bit bigger. So now what I need to do is mix up some paint to shade this with. So I'm going to use territorial beige, and I'm just going to put one drop of each of these. Yellow from apple barrel again, and then harvest orange from apple barrel. And just mix those together. Okay, and now we're going to dry brush this on. So I'm going to get as much of the paint off of my brush as possible. So I'm just going to kind of brush it on my little palette here to get a lot of the paint out. And then I'm just going to start shading all over the top of this and the sides. This is going to change it from looking like a pile of poo to more like a funnel cake. Are funnel cakes popular where you live? Where I live in New Mexico, we have fry bread, which is kind of the same concept, just a different shape. And so that's kind of the thing at the fairs and stuff here. And then when I lived in Illinois, we had elephant ears, which is basically the same thing as fry bread, I believe. And so it's interesting. They're different, but still, I think the same dough, and they pretty much taste the same. So what's the popular one where you live? Okay, so I've got it all shaded now. And the next thing I'm going to do is put some, I'm going to use matte Mod Podge because I don't want this to get shiny. The paint's not really wet enough to hold on the powdered sugar, fake powdered sugar. So I'm going to use this matte Mod Podge so that I can put my powdered sugar on and it will stick. And so for the powdered sugar, I'm going to use baby powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle some on. This really changes the whole look. This makes it look much better. So you could just leave it like this. I was thinking I'm going to put a dollop of whipped cream and a strawberry on the top just for something fun. So if you're new to fake baking, to make the whipped cream, this is just a spackle, just like we mixed it up for the tan part for the funnel cake, but it's mixed with white paint instead of tan. And then I'm using a 1M piping tip. So I just push it down in there and then make a mark right above where the tip opens up. And then I'm just going to snip that part off. And then push my piping tip through. And then I'm going to fill the bag. Okay, now I'm just going to squeeze my little dollop on here. And then I made this strawberry. I'm actually working on a tutorial for this, so it might be on the channel. If it is, I'll link up to it, and if not, it'll be coming soon. So I just put my little strawberry in there, and there's our funnel cake. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. Be sure to follow my Facebook page or my Instagram and share your creations over there. I love seeing all the things that you guys make. It's so fun for me. Even stuff that isn't on my channel, I just like to see the things you guys are making. So be sure to follow me on one of those, and I'll see you in the next video.